Hook. Think you know everything about sardines? Think again. These little fish can transform your health, heart, brain, bones. But most people sabotage them before they even put them in their mouths. What you do in front of the can, in the kitchen, or when choosing the product at the supermarket can negate half the benefits. Today I'm going to show you the most costly mistakes in taste and nutrients, and how to fix them in a few simple steps. Before we start, remember to like and subscribe if you want more practical videos like this one. Quick plan. First, we'll debunk some common misconceptions that are preventing you from truly enjoying sardines. Then I'll reveal the most common mistakes, those that waste calcium, dilute omega-3s, or turn the oil into a pointless liquid. And I'll give you concrete alternatives. By the end, you'll have storage tips, simple food pairings, and a little ritual to get the most value from the can. Why sardines really matter. In one bite, you get nutrients many believe are only found in milk or supplements, quality protein, vitamin D, and especially calcium if you eat the bones. A typical serving of canned sardines with the bones provides several hundred milligrams of calcium, often the equivalent of a large glass of milk, making them an excellent food source for supporting bone health. And it's not just isolated calcium. Sardines form an interesting nutritional matrix. Potassium, magnesium, zinc, and amino acids like taurine that interact to reduce mild inflammation and support cardiovascular metabolism. That's why many researchers recommend, when possible, eating the whole fish rather than just an oil supplement. Fear of mercury? Rest assured, sardines are among the safest fish in terms of mercury. Their small size and short lifespan explain the very low concentrations, making them safe for regular consumption, even for pregnant women, provided they limit their sodium intake. Depending on the preparation method, health authorities list small, oily fish as good low-mercury choices. What the oil really means: when you see sardines in oil, it's not just about taste. During storage, the oil exchanges lipids with the fish flesh. The oil concentrates omega-3 fatty acids and fat-soluble vitamins, and also protects the flesh from rapid oxidation. Conversely, preparations in water lose texture and their beneficial fatty acids deteriorate more quickly. Studies on storage clearly demonstrate the lipid exchange between muscle and oil and the impact of preservation on the quality of omega-3s. What this means for you now: if you want to maximize the benefit, choose quality sardines in olive oil or good quality vegetable oil. Eat the bones for the calcium and keep the oil. Don't throw it away. We'll talk about this in a very practical way in a moment. How to store them after opening, how to use the oil, and how to incorporate these tins into dishes that respect and enhance their nutrients. While we're on the subject, a quick word about heart health. Clinical literature links omega-3 intake to reductions in certain cardiovascular events. Oily fish remains a powerful dietary strategy for cardiometabolic prevention when consumed regularly. Too many people are already wasting this value. Next, I'm going to debunk the first bad habit you probably encounter every other day: throwing away the bones and rinsing the sardines under running water. Yes, it seems harmless. In reality, it's one of the most costly mistakes you can make. I'll show you why, with figures and evidence to back it up, and then I'll give you 3 simple ways to keep them, or benefit from them if you're still skeptical. So let's get to the first mistake that costs you the most: keeping the nutrition or throwing it away. We'll start right away. You know, one of the biggest misconceptions about sardines is believing that the bones are useless. Many people remove them automatically, as if it were a learned skill from eating larger fish. But here, it's exactly the opposite that should happen. Imagine a patient I treated, Mireille, 68 years old. She had been eating sardines for years, but always had the habit of cleaning the inside of the fish with her fork. She thought she was doing the right thing. Yet, despite a balanced diet, her bone mineral density continued to slowly decline. Nothing alarming, but enough to make her lose confidence. When I simply asked her, "Do you eat the bones?" she burst out laughing. "Oh no, doctor, that's impossible. Just swallowing that." Except that it was true, the bones had been softened by pressure cooking, and they were literally little capsules of bioavailable calcium. When she changed this one habit, her calcium intake skyrocketed effortlessly. and 6 months later, her bone scan finally showed a plateau. Of course, it's not a medication, and it never replaces a medical consultation, but her diet was finally doing its job. Along the same lines, there's another pitfall we'll shed light on: the choice of packaging. Many people still buy sardines in water, thinking they're lightening up their meal. In reality, it's often the best way to get a dry fish, less flavorful, and above all, less stable. Water doesn't prevent the oxidation of omega-3s. The result: you lose flavor, you lose texture, and you lose benefits. Oil, on the other hand, protects. It acts as both a shield and an amplifier. When sardines rest in good olive oil, their fatty acids migrate, balance, and stabilize. The flavor becomes rounder, deeper, and the preservation more reliable. Many of my patients who thought they didn't like sardines were simply making the wrong choice at the supermarket. And now that we're on the subject of preservation, let me bring you to a reality that no one ever mentions. Once the can is opened, you have virtually no room for error. Air oxidizes everything. The longer you wait, the more you degrade the very essence of the fish, its omega-3s, its texture, its natural flavor. Some people leave the open can in the refrigerator, not realizing that the metal continues to react. The result? A metallic taste, a loss of aroma, and above all, less nutritional value. So, I'm going to give you a simple tip. Open the can, immediately transfer the sardines to a small glass jar, cover them lightly with oil, either the oil from the can or another type, close it, and refrigerate. That's the difference between meh and wow. Now, let's move on to something even more important: how you prepare these sardines on your plate. Because if you think eating them straight from the can is the best way, you're in for a whole new world. You see, many people get tired of sardines because they always eat them the same way, straight from the can with a fork, in silence, staring at an open can. It's simple, yes, but it's also why some people end up saying, "I'm fed up, they always taste the same." In reality, sardines behave like a super ingredient. They adapt, they transform a dish, they add character. All it takes is taking them out of their role as a quick fix for them to become what they truly are: a complete, flavorful, and beneficial food. I remember a man, Patrice, 72 years old, who ate sardines every day for lunch. "Doctor, I can't take it anymore, but it's the best thing I've found for my health." We worked together on a little culinary ritual, nothing complicated. But that's what changed everything. You can, for example, mash them with a little Greek yogurt or avocado. 1 minute, no more. Add a squeeze of lemon, a little pepper, a few capers if you like, and there you have it, a spread rich in protein and healthy fats that gives the impression of a Mediterranean meal. Patrice loved it. He even started cooking for his grandchildren again. Or, imagine a pan-fried dish. You gently sauté some garlic, a shallot, maybe a few tomatoes. Then you add the sardines at the very end, off the heat. Not before, or you'll break them up unnecessarily. You mix it in gently, and what you have before you is no longer just a can. It's a hot, nourishing, balanced, and surprisingly delicious meal. And I'm not even talking about breakfast. Some seniors struggle with protein in the morning. Yet, a scrambled egg with a few pieces of sardine, it's a nutritional powerhouse. It satisfies, it nourishes, it stabilizes energy for the whole morning. But be careful. Even the best preparation can be ruined if you pair sardines with bad flavors. Many try to mask their taste with heavy sauces, melted cheese, or thick creams. The result: nothing breathes, the flavors clash, and you end up with a dish too heavy for your digestive system. The secret is freshness. Contrast: lemon, vinegar, fresh herbs. Crisp vegetables, tangy, vibrant flavors that awaken the fish. Not cover it, not hide it, reveal it. And in a moment, we're going to delve into one of the most surprising mistakes, one that almost everyone makes without realizing it: rinsing sardines under running water. You'll see why this seemingly innocuous gesture actually negates many of the benefits you're seeking. Rinsing sardines, It's probably one of the most common mistakes, and yet one of the most destructive. Many people do it with the best intentions. They think they're removing excess salt, reducing the too strong taste, or even cleaning the fish. But this seemingly sensible gesture erases in seconds what months of maturation in the can have built up. When a sardine rests in oil, tomato sauce, or even brine, something very special happens: an exchange. Fatty acids migrate, fat-soluble vitamins dissolve, aromas develop, nutrients pass from the fish to the liquid, and from the liquid to the fish. It's a delicate, almost subtle, but incredibly precious balance. And when you rinse it all under the tap, you lose some of these nutrients. You dilute the omega-3s. You remove the aromatic notes. You make the fish drier, more fragile. And you're not really removing the salt, since a large portion of it has already penetrated the flesh during sterilization. I've seen many people convinced that they taste better rinsed. But every time we prepared a small tasting together, one side rinsed, the other not, the difference was obvious. The rinsed fish lost its texture, became flaky, almost dull. The one left as is was smoother, rounder, more complete. If you really want to reduce the salt, there's a better solution: low-sodium versions. They exist, they're good, and they respect the integrity of the fish. And if you want to soften the taste, focus on acidity and herbs. A lemon will do 1,000 times more than rinsing. A pinch of parsley or chives transforms everything without destroying anything. Now let's talk about another belief that prevents many people from enjoying sardines. They're too strong for me. Let me be frank. Very often the problem isn't the sardines themselves, but the wrong can, the wrong storage, or the wrong accompaniments. A good sardine doesn't smell strong. It smells of the ocean, not like fish left out in the sun. A good sardine has a clean, salty, well-rounded taste. But if you buy a low-quality, rinsed, poorly stored version, or one paired with heavy flavors, your brain interprets it as too strong, too rich, too heavy. And you know what? As we age, our taste buds change. Some flavors become more intense. But that doesn't mean you have to abandon such a precious food. You just have to adjust a touch of acidity, a bit of fresh vegetables, a better oil, and everything falls into place. So, now that you see how every little thing can enhance or ruin the value of sardines, let's get to the heart of the problem. Mistake number 1. The one thing that wastes the most nutrition, and that frankly, 9 out of 10 people do without a second thought. We're going to talk about that famous oil that everyone throws away without even considering its value. Get ready, because this is probably the most surprising revelation in this whole video. We'll get to it in a moment. Let's talk about this oil. You know, every time I see someone open a can of sardines, then tilt the can over the sink to drain the oil, I want to shout, "Stop!" Because this simple, almost automatic gesture makes the can's most precious contents disappear. Oil isn't waste. Oil isn't an unnecessary excess. Oil is concentrated nutrition. For weeks, sometimes months, the oil and the fish have exchanged their treasures. Some of the omega-3 fatty acids, fat-soluble vitamins like D and E, protective aromatic compounds, all migrate and find a balance. What you throw down the sink is literally an elixir. I remember Jean, 74 years old. He told me, "Doctor, I eat sardines for my heart." I replied, "Very well. You keep the oil?" He looked at me as if I'd asked him if he grew bananas in his living room. Bien sûr. Et c'est à ce moment-là que j'ai expliqué ça à lui. For years, he thought he was doing the right thing. He was avoiding the fat. Except that it wasn't useless fat. It was a shield, a resource part of the fish's therapeutic value. When he started using it, not drinking it straight from the spoon, obviously, but cooking with it intelligently, everything changed. His energy levels were more stable, he digested his meals better, and even his taste for sardines was transformed. "It tastes like a completely different product," he told me. "So how do you actually use it?" Here are my 3 best ways: simple, quick, and effective. UN. On a salad. No need for store-bought dressing. Just add a drizzle of this flavored oil, a little lemon juice, a pinch of pepper, and you have an omega-3 rich sauce instantly. 2. To start a cooking. Want to sauté some garlic, onion, or tomatoes? Use this oil. It adds a depth and sweetness you'll never get with a simple neutral oil. 3. In a soup, broth, or stew, just une cuillère à soupe. Enough to enrich the dish, not enough to transform it. It's subtle, but your body will feel it. And above all, if you keep your sardines in the fridge after opening, always keep the oil on to limit oxidation. It protects them much better than any plastic wrap. Now, before I wrap up, I have to tell you something important. Sardines are incredibly healthy, yes, but they're not suitable for everyone, not every day, and not in all quantities. Some people need to be especially careful. If you're monitoring your sodium intake, if you have gout, if you have uric acid kidney stones, or if you need to control certain dietary fats. In these situations, caution, moderation, and of course, personalized medical advice are key. My advice is here to help you, not to replace a consultation. So, what should you take away from all this? That sardines are a superfood, but only if you treat them with respect. If you choose the right can, keep the bones, store them properly, avoid rinsing them, pair them with the right flavors, and above all, use the oil instead of throwing it away. That's the difference between an ordinary fish and a powerful health ally for your heart, brain, bones, and daily energy. If what you just learned helped you, please like this video. It really helps the channel subscribe so you don't miss anything. And tell me in the comments, how do you eat your sardines? I'd love to read your ideas, tips, and preferences. And if you want to go further, you can download your free guide on the Next Age Health website. I show you how to use everyday foods to support your energy, longevity, and metabolic health. Merci d'être venu. À la prochaine vidéo.